Hey, there's Vince. Vince, we can see you now. Now let's see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Nancy, can you hear him?
I can hear him now.
Wait, let me try one more thing. I can see if I can
heard
change.
him before, but not now.
I know, this is ironic.
How
Well,
about
can you hear him now, Nancy?
No, I can't.
Oh, that's such a bummer. We had that problem with our last guest too, Vince. And I think it's because Nancy's on her phone. So whatever you were on before was interfacing with her, but not with your camera.
Right.
But in any case, Nancy, unfortunately, I'm going to translate for you. So Vince, we were talking a little bit about stress today and how we can be doing activities that reduce stress together with our kiddos. And I know you're hearing a lot from parents who are having a lot of stress. Talk to us about what you recommend.
Lots of stress, right? And in kind of dovetailing what you guys were just talking about in regards to with the pandemic and being at home and having to be, mom, dad, teacher, guardian, therapist, parent, worker, so forth and so on, right? I mean, it's the stress level is incredibly high. So there's lots of different things. Now, obviously, everybody's stress is a little bit different, right? Everyone's dynamics different. The kids' stress, family stress, even the couple stress, right, is different. So we need to make sure that we're aware that everyone's stress is different in the family, right? What the child is experiencing is different than what the parent's experiencing. But once we're aware that everyone is feeling different anxieties and different stressors, there's many different things that we could do. One of the things for the individual stress of the child, Nancy had, perfect, example of what she does with Wyatt. Go outside, play, ride a bike, get physical activity. I cannot understress or overstress more about physical activity, going for walks, going for runs, going outside, just being in the sun and the air is remarkably lifting for everyone's emotions, right? Now that, there is no, we can go back outside, which I know back in April and May, we really weren't supposed to, but now that we can, we need to make sure we're doing more of that. And that's from mom and dad down to the kids, right? Taking a walk as a family or taking a walk individually or, maybe walking, from a far distance of a parking lot to a store, right? Anything that we can do to expose ourselves more outside would be my first stress reducer that we can do, or at least building it into our daily schedule so that we get a little bit more respite that way. Does that make sense?
Totally does. I want to make sure that I acknowledge that this experience is, as you said, different for absolutely everyone. And I know that while a lot of people are able to get out and go for walks, I know in our neighborhood, we had to stop because we have a lot of people who are out on the streets and they're not wearing masks and they are not adhering to social distancing. We were even taking our dog with us because our dog is crazy and will bite anybody who gets within 10 feet of us. And it became an issue, a safety issue. People were coming up and to us and getting way too close, and the dog was coming close to biting them. So we had to stop that. And I know there are some of you that are watching that are in cities who have told me the same thing, that we're not going to stores. So I do think that the getting outside thing is super important if you can. But I think the physical thing is even more important. And in our case, we invested in a treadmill, a good treadmill. I just sort of was thinking about like all the money we would have spent on movie tickets and concerts and things that we would have gone to during the summer. And I was like, okay, we're going to invest that in a treadmill. And we put it in the middle of the living room and we take turns being on it. We talk to each other while we're on it. It's social time on the treadmill. And it has made such a difference for all of us in our family.
Right. That's fantastic. Absolutely. And again, all of this is adaptive, right? Everyone, as we're saying, neighborhoods are different, locations are different. Eating outside in the patio, having dinner outside on your patio, sitting outside in your backyard, sitting outside or in front in your patio, or obviously however your house is designed. Right? That too is just as healthy. You're outside, you're getting fresh air, you're socializing, or you're getting quiet, independent time while you're outside. Right? All of these suggestions, like Shannon had pointed out, adapt to your need. Don't use it though as an excuse to just stay inside, if that makes sense, right? Adapt to make it successful, not discredit it so that we can continue to stay inside. Because staying inside is actually not helping, because you're not getting enough sun, you're not getting enough fresh air, you're not getting enough just connectivity to all your senses like you get when you're outdoors. Keeping active. Going back to Shannon's point, keeping active, a treadmill, walking around, sitting on yoga balls, making sure that, if you can do, any physical activity outside, even if it's in your own backyard, right? Do it. Take laps in your backyard. Put an iPod on. Take laps in the backyard. Go outside and talk and walk around with your significant other or with your kids. Go outside, play games, kick a ball around, throw a ball around. Do obstacle courses, go sit in a wake pool, right? There's lots of different things, but making sure we schedule it, I think, is important, right? We are so busy with school and work and schedules and Zoom and this and that, right? We need to schedule it as an appointment in our very busy schedule to make sure that we adhere to it on a daily basis, right? So it'd be, I'm going to work out at this time, I'm going to go outside at this time, we're going to have meal outside, whatever it may be, right? Make sure it's a permanent part of your daily schedule.
Yeah, I love Tiffany Haddish. I don't know if you guys love Tiffany Haddish, but I love her. And she's been doing these really fun videos and stuff on, I don't know whether it's on her Instagram or whatever, but I just see it in my news feed. But she went out and didn't have a pool in her backyard. She's been doing all these at-home projects, but she bought a kiddie pool, blew it up, and put it in her backyard and got a mermaid outfit and went in the kiddie pool and was having a good time. And I thought, not everybody has a pool, but you can do something. You can do something, whether it's that you take the hose and run it over the kids. That's what we did when I was a kid. We didn't have a pool.
We did it now.
We didn't even have a sprinkler. And it was
my daughter now bought she's 22 years old and bought just a little blow-up pool, put it in the patio, and just sat in it and listened to the radio. And guess who jumped in? My wife jumped out and jumped in. It was like,
of course,
it was something very silly, but yet extremely important.
Listen, if it's good enough for Tiffany Haddish, it's good enough for all of us.
Absolutely.
I just adore her. Okay, so if you can get outside, but either if you can get outside or you can't get outside, that physical component I think is really, really important. What else you got in your bag of tricks for us, Vince?
Remember that our lives are broken into, one of the things when I was thinking about this topic, I'm a very visual person, so I was thinking, think of your life in 3 different buckets, right? We have our individual bucket, we have our couple bucket if we're married and in a relationship, and then we have our family bucket, right? All 3 of our buckets need to be tended to on a daily basis. We, as family and parents, tend to put more into the family bucket than any other bucket. But we're sacrificing the couple bucket as well as our individual bucket. So when you think of your life, you think of your day, you think of how much resource we're giving to the family. Let's not forget how much resource we need to give to the couple, and how much or access and resource do we need to give to ourselves individually. We need downtime. We need time to just decompress and process. The couple needs time to just be alone and communicate and process. And then, of course, the family needs time to be together to communicate, process, and be able to, to share experiences and memories. So when you're thinking of that, think of how do I relate and relieve stress for myself, for my relationship, and for my family, not just family. I think sometimes that's our pitfall, is we only focus on one and not all 2 or 3.
Boy, I really think that's important, Vince. I know that a lot of people, it's a story, I think it's a tale of 2 cities, right? But they both are related, that there are some people that are working during COVID, and it feels like work has become more, that those of us who are working more hours. And it's been hard to balance even family with that, let alone doing something for yourself or doing something for your relationship. But then on the flip side, I have friends who aren't working, but their constant concern is keeping financial things on an even keel, which is as much stress as the working. That seems to be a big bucket in COVID. How do I keep everything going, either career-wise or job-wise or finance-wise, and that even balancing that stress with family and with individual and with couple is hard.
Right.
Anything you want to say about that, about how we balance work? I'm not doing a good job with this.
Well, and let's think about that, right? So obviously when we're working with work, right, that's our individual bucket because it's not involving the couple nor the family. So we look at the individual, look at our day. Let's break up our day. Where is some time to take that walk? Even if it's around the office, if you're in an empty office or you're in an office that doesn't have a lot of people, with mask on, with mask off, that depends on the situation, of course, right? Find time to break off from work. Find time to actually utilize your breaks. I am the worst at this. I will be the first to admit. Shannon knows. She sees me eating during our meetings. Shannon, we both did yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves those breaks. So I think if you're struggling, you have to back up and look at utilizing those breaks. They're there for you. Make sure you take them. Make sure you shut off. Make sure you turn off. Stay away. Walk away from your desk if you're going to be distracted. Go do something. Go sit in a different office or a different room or a lounge or outside or on a patio, wherever you're working. Right? Move away from your work. Distance yourself from it. It is too hard to do that when it's right here. Right? Distance yourself from it. That will help you because then you'll get those mental breaks. You will get that refresh. You will get some of that joy and entertainment by doing something else, either be socializing with someone else, maybe just listening to music, maybe eating, fiddling around on social media, whatever it is, right? So make sure you schedule those breaks, that lunchtime, just as you do with your colleague meetings, just as you do with your work task meetings, right? Make sure you utilize them. So when you feel yourself struggling, you have control of this. You can utilize your breaks and your lunch as a way to break away from work. And I think I speak for many of us, everyone, many that are watching that's hard to do when we have deadlines, we have responsibilities, we have things we need to do. But if we feel ourselves struggling, that's your first step, is make sure that you prioritize those breaks just as high as you would a task.
Yeah, but then there's the other side of it. And Nancy, maybe you can speak to this because, because you're not working during COVID and I know it's stressful for you and trying to I think I know a lot of friends that are like, oh gosh, should I be looking for something to, else to do? Can I, there are friends who are just not able to fully enjoy it because they feel a pressure to be doing more. And wondering how long this will continue. How are you managing that stress, Nancy?
It's difficult, Shannon. I'm not managing it all that well. I've been looking for work, and it's difficult in this time to find jobs and difficult to balance all of that. And, after being quarantined now for 6 months, I'm getting a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people. I think we all have this, everybody looks at the other side and thinks it's so idyllic, right? My friends who aren't working, look at those of us who are working. They're like, oh, that must be so nice because you're working from home and you still have your income, but you're getting all this free time and it's stressful for us. And we're looking at our friends who aren't working and thinking, man, what I wouldn't do. I keep saying to everybody, I can't wait for COVID to be over so I can take a vacation. Right? But it's not a vacation for my friends who aren't working. There's nothing remotely like a vacation going on for anybody.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Okay. So back to, things that we can, so we've got our 3 buckets there, Vince. And I really, I'm loving some of the things that I'm seeing parents do. Like one of our colleagues, Cecilia Knight, she has enforced family fun time every day. And I wasn't doing that. And because I saw her doing it, I was like, okay. And on our visual schedule, which, I'm always saying make a visual schedule. It took me a while to get around to it. But on our visual schedule, I blocked off time that from 5:30 to 8 o'clock every night, that is family time. My son doesn't get to plan anything else then. My husband doesn't get to plan anything. I don't get to plan anything. And we find something fun to do during that time. And I'm fascinated by seeing what other families do. Like a lot of Cecilia's family, a lot of what they seem to do is a lot of, it's like boot camp. At least that's the way it looks like on Facebook, that they're doing a lot of exercising together, which I think is great. We do a little bit of treadmill time, but a lot of families are doing other things. What are you doing with your family, Vince, that's fun?
Game time, right? That's a great time to sit down and do, to play games that we don't typically play with each other, right? I mean, I have played more games over the last 6 months than probably the last 6 years, right? So, pull out your old board games, pull out your old card games. We were playing, playing all different kinds of card games I didn't even know existed,
Okay, well, I got to know, because I'm making the toy guide right now. What's your favorite game?
Oh, well, we were playing, the classics, King in the Corner and Go Fish and poker and blackjack. But then, it actually invigorated my daughters and my wife to where they were out seeking games.
Oh, okay.
To do new games, to bring new games home. So I think that's extremely important because it does cut the tie, to our technology. It does keep us away from our individual technology. Now, I do want to kind of pin that real quick because things like Let's Dance and Band Hero and some of the video games that you do as a group, as a family, are also extremely fun, right?
Yeah, we like Mario Kart. Nancy, you were playing Uno last night when I was talking to you.
Yes, we play Uno all the time. Mm-hmm. Wyatt likes Uno. He likes apples to apples.
Yeah.
And last night we had our family time by playing games, and then we went on a long bike ride, which was great.
That's great.
So we're like you, Shannon. We try to do something after the school day is over, after therapy is over. We try to do something fun before dinner.
Yeah.
Right. And I think meal times have now become more important again. I think we could all, go back and forth in regards to how important meal times have kind of faded away as we've gotten more busy and life has gotten more busy and things have gotten a little chaotic. What I've seen over the last 6 months is the importance of that meal time again, that family time at night, having everybody in the same home again, right? You don't have everybody going 50,000 places because everyone was kind of, sheltered back in one place. And that became it was kind of weird I don't know about you ladies, but it was kind of weird at first. Like all of us at home at the same time having a meal. We were so used to, it being all different variation, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. But now you see the importance of how that helps our communication, talking about our day, talking about our tomorrows, talking about our highs and lows. I love doing what's your 3 highs, what's your 3 lows of the day, right? Or what was the best thing of your day, right? Those types of things. So that when we're talking about it, we're connecting. We're connecting again. We're making sure that we're involved with one another, and it kind of gives some of that social connectivity that we've been missing through the day by doing everything electronically.
And I just want to throw out there for families that have kiddos that are, early in intervention or nonverbal, and sometimes you'll hear something like, saying 3 highs and 3 lows at the dinner table, and you go, "That's not my life." I want to point out, though, that modeling the behavior is how you get there. That you always want to be working on functional communication with our kiddos. And even if your child isn't able to do that right now, going around the table and modeling the behavior for them. And mom says, okay, so here were my 3 highs and here were my 3 lows. And you may think to yourself, I don't even know how much my child is getting. There are so many parents that I know that talk to their children later on, and your child will remember things that you think there's no way I didn't think they understood language at that point. My son said something last week that just threw me off completely. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was something that I had told him when he was absolutely nonverbal and I thought that he couldn't retain information. And he was like, oh no, Mom, I heard everything you were saying.
Right.
So don't sell yourself short. Do something at the table, model the behavior, encourage them to do any approximation, even if they say, one sound or click one icon, celebrate that because that's how you build language. I just don't want people to dismiss it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Vince, what were you saying?
Observational learning, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Our kids are listening, our kids are seeing, our kids are participating when they're looking at you, when they're listening to you. Absolutely. That's a very great point that you brought up because we want to include them as best as we can because they are listening, they are inputting, they are paying attention to what we're doing. And so that's why we model the appropriate language, we model the appropriate behavior, and we try to get them to participate the best way they can.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But Vince, I want to thank you so much for being here and talking with us about stress reducing. We're going to figure out whatever our technical problem is. I don't know what went wrong. This was working fine yesterday, so I don't know what went wrong. But we're going to figure it out and figure out so Nancy doesn't have to be on her phone. But thank you both for being here. We will be back on Monday, you guys, with great shows. You're not going to want to miss that. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me.
And give yourselves a hug from me. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yes. Bye-bye for now. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.